The only thing I ever changed about myself to make him like me more was lying about liking Chinese food. I hate Chinese food. Who doesn't like Chinese food?
Trying to jump. They love me. Yeah, let me get some of that meow and some of that.
Hello there, friend. How's it going? Welcome back to ReddX, dude. Today we're looking at basically the gender swap of a nice guy's video that we did not too long ago. And it is, I stalked my husband for 2 years before I formally met him.
Dude, I'm telling you, she's completely psycho. Okay, she's in my house.
I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a wild ride. Original post was to r/offmychest. I, 24, married my husband, 28 male, about a year and a half ago. The first time I saw my husband, I was a freshman in high school, and he was a freshman in college. Oh boy. He was walking his dog at the park when he stopped to talk to my brother, 27 male, because they happened to go to high school together. That was the moment that I became hooked. It just happens for you like that? You see somebody, you're like, I'm gonna obsess over them forever. Seems like a really weird way to go about life, but okay. That same day, I found his Instagram, his family's social media, and also where he lived, since my brother offered to walk him home while I tagged along. Dude, this is already so strange. Do you see the level of cope? Do you see how she just states these things so matter-of-factly and moves past them in hopes that we won't notice how weird it all is? But it's so weird. When I got home that day, I knew I wanted him. But of course, I was only 14 while he was 18, so I came up with a plan. Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a plan to fix all this. I found out his younger brother was only 1 year younger than me and would be attending my current high school. Ah, the pieces are all falling into place, aren't they? This is so weird. I hate these things. You think it's gonna be rom-com and funny? It's not. It's horrifying. Don't do this to other human beings. So I figured that I had to befriend his younger brother by any means possible next year when he moves up as a freshman while I became a sophomore. And I did. It took around halfway through my junior year where we became best friends, and he invited me over regularly to his house to hang out. Jesus, did you even really like this kid? Or you're like solely just there because you're obsessed with the kid's brother? This one just trips me the hell out, man, because it's like you came up with this plan when you were 14 and you lived the plan until you're 24, and at no point during that decade were you like, man, this is pretty weird, like from a third person perspective, maybe I shouldn't. Okay, so continuing, this is where I was able to befriend my current husband's mom, and God, did she love to talk about him. Her son. Not current husband, her son, first and foremost. From her, I found out what college he goes to, all about his past girlfriends, what his elementary/middle school was, his favorite/least favorite foods, his pet peeves, what he likes, etc., etc. God, Mom, it's called operational security, for God's sake! Eventually, when my visits started getting more and more frequent, I formally met my current husband again. Current husband, I'll call him E, would come over every other week and stay for either Friday through Sunday or Saturday to Sunday. Are you writing this down in the journal or what? I bet she is. It's an Excel sheet. It's even worse. So on the days when E was around specifically, OP would wear her cutest outfits to impress him and also joke around with him a lot. The Eagle has landed. Phase 1 of Creepy Stalker Wife completed. Moving on to Phase 2. Eventually, I befriended E. A little background on him. He is the school record holder for a certain sport at my school, which I just so happened to do. Was that water polo? The hell am I talking about? It's probably basketball. It's basketball, right? Halfway through my senior year, E came back during the season to help coach the current high school athletes, which included me, in order to get some volunteer work hours in. And I got to spend a lot more time with him. Did she start this sport just because he plays it, or is that like a happy coincidence? I don't think any of this is a happy coincidence. OP says, I loved every second of it. We were friends before, but then we became much closer since I got to spend lots of extra time with him after school, or sometimes he would even drive me home since we lived relatively close. Did you ever invite him upstairs? Is that untoward? No, she has to be duplicitous the whole way through. Authenticity is in such short supply these days. Fast forward to when I had to move away to New York City for college. E moved with me since he coincidentally got a job near my college. Edit, I lied, it wasn't a coincidence. See?
Wow, not a good look on her.
I found out he got a job offer and applied to a college nearby his workplace. Holy hell. Some new depths, man. I still don't think she's as bad as the last guy, the nice guy, that paid for a failed date, but oh man, this is next level stalkering. Being each other's only friends in a new state, we became incredibly close. We started dating when I was almost at my sophomore year of college. He proposed to me after I graduated, and we just got married almost a year ago. He knows absolutely nothing about how I truly know him, and he believes that it is fate that brought us together through his younger brother. This is really the type of stuff you should take to the grave, you know? Nobody's life is gonna be better for it. Pandora doesn't go back inside the bottle. There's a barrel of worms you can't put the monkeys back in, you know? Let him believe that it's fate, is my point. Okay. Lately I've been debating on whether or not I should tell him. Why?
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Why would you ever? Or at least tell his younger brother the truth, since the only reason I befriended him was to get closer to E. Like I said, dude, nobody's life is gonna be better for this. Why are you making these decisions right now? I feel guilty every time he tells others our love story because the truth is, I've known him for 10 years, while he's only known me for about 7. This chick is off her rocker! Update. I read a reply saying that the best thing for myself is to keep it a secret, which is what a lot of people are saying, but the best thing for him is to tell him, and I figured that person really is right. I will be telling him this Tuesday on his day off. He deserves to know who he married. Bro, you firebombed it for nothing. Your own guilt was eating you up inside, is what it really is. You're not telling him for some grand gesture, you're telling him to alleviate your own conscience. And if that's what you need to do, then hey, that's fine, but I don't think the marriage is gonna weather this. Update on July 6, 2023, almost a week after the first post. I told him on this 4th of July, after the fireworks mostly ended and we were heading back, I asked him in the car, wouldn't it have been weird if we met each other before the first time we actually met, but we just didn't think of each other as significant at the time? Yeah. He smiled and turned to me saying, "Puh, that's impossible. There's no universe where we would have met, and I would not think of you as significant." Aw, what a sweet talk. A little bit of that honeymoon phase going on, right? That statement struck me in the heart because I would soon prove that sentence very wrong, but I continued on with my plan anyway. Come on. You're killing me. Why must we do nobody else is involved in the plan. We could abort the plan at any point. So OP says, what if I told you that we have met each other before that time that I was introduced as E's little brother's friend? He looked at me like I was crazy, so...
You crazy bitch!
Yeah, what could possibly make him think that? So that's when I pulled over to the side of the road and pulled out my phone to show him the post that I put up here before that explained everything. Oh my god, you didn't even, like, tell him face to face? Here's the Reddit post. It explains everything better than I ever could. That's probably the most insane thing in the whole story. Stalk somebody for a decade? Nah! It's not the first time we've seen it. Upending your significant other's life through a Reddit post? That's a new one. He took about 8 minutes to read the whole thing. And when he finished, he put the phone down and stared straight ahead. Shell shock, bro. Almost like he was dumbfounded, scared, and confused, all at the same time. Who wouldn't be? Somebody who would carry out a plan like this so meticulously over such a huge time frame? You're a maniac. I don't know if all maniacs can see if they're maniacs or not, but this girl, she a fucking maniac. I started throwing out every excuse and apology that I could muster at the moment for about 15 minutes straight when he decided to tell me to stop. And so I did. Then he just sat there and sobbed uncontrollably for about 10 minutes before he finally asked me how much of our relationship and how much of my identity was fabricated according to his liking. Damn, that's a good question. All of it, basically? I told him the honest truth. None of my personality or identity was fabricated for him, except for the fact of how we met. The only thing I ever changed about myself to make him like me more was lying about liking Chinese food. I hate Chinese food. Oh, gee, that's probably the most egregious thing about her, you know? Who doesn't like Chinese food?
Trying to jump. They love me. Yeah, let me get some of that meow and some of that.
What is going on in your brain? That's what I want to know. Everything else other than that, though, was real. Although my friendship with his younger brother was built upon ill intentions, my friendship between his brother and I is now one of the most genuine friendships that I have now. Oh, good, out of necessity, isn't that wonderful? If the foundation isn't there, the whole thing collapses. You realize that. I don't think she realizes that. He just cried, and he told me that he doesn't want a divorce at all, but he does want us to have some time apart, so that he could absorb the truth that I gave him. He also said that he expects me to tell his brother and mom this Friday, because they deserve to know the truth just as much as he did. I told him, okay, and we drove the rest of the ride home in silence. Bro, he's gonna go for that divorce as soon as they get home.
Divorce.
Stop laughing.
You just don't want to set somebody like this off until you get at least a couple 100 miles away. So when we got home, he hugged me and cried for about 5 minutes before he got out the car, packed his stuff, and said that he would be staying at a nearby hotel for now. He said that he knows that he still loves me, but he does not yet know how to react to the fact that the beginning of our relationship was very, very orchestrated. I like how casually she puts that. Yeah, I orchestrate a little bit. I disagree. It seems to me like you're in the business of upending lives, including your own for whatever reason. To sum it all up, I guess telling him was a success. ? I honestly don't know. He sent me a good night and I love you text last night while he was at the hotel, so I guess he's not as much mad as he may be betrayed. Yeah, he's both. He definitely has good reason to be both. Update 2. Woke up this morning to find out that hubby not only lied about going to a hotel to stay at, but also lied about not wanting a divorce through a text message. Well, neither of you guys are very good at communicating. You told him all of this crap through a Reddit post, so how are you going to be like, through a text message? Oh my god. At least the text message only goes to you. What a dumpster fire. He went to his family's home, not a fucking hotel. Told them the entire story himself, probably making it exaggerated too, to make me seem crazy. What else could he possibly say? What could you add to the she stalked me for 10 years? Nobody is going to make you seem crazier than you actually are, because you're at the peak end of crazy. Please seek therapy.
Stop it. Get some help.
His whole family wants nothing to do with me, claims I'm a total psycho. He said that he lied about going to a hotel because he knew if he told the truth that I would try to stop him, ? Honestly, I feel so betrayed. Oh, good job, yeah. Flip this one on its head for sure. Everybody's the victim, okay? Everybody wins. Now go home. I tried to be a good wife by showing him the true me, and this is what he does? How else did you expect him to react? What an interesting, funny, quirky story. I'm totally fine with the fact that you're a person who manipulates people for years on end. You're troubled. You're very, very troubled, and it's scary that you don't see that. I did all of this work just for it to end up like this?
Well, what the hell do you expect, huh?
Honestly, I kind of deserve it. You deserve way more than this. I didn't even tell him in the first place because I felt bad. I told him because I had a suspicion that he was catching on to the fact that I knew him for 2.5 years before he knew me. Largely because I found out he was keeping my old phone in his work desk. My old phone that had screenshots of a lot of his Instagram posts and plans in my note app about him, etc. So I guess he never truly loved me if he can't get past an honest confession like this one. I might update this in a few years when I find a new husband. Lol. Please don't stalk a new husband. That's not what you're supposed to do. Okay. Promise me that right now. OP couldn't even deal with the fact that Reddit came after her. She deleted her account. She learned nothing. You destroyed at least 3 lives, damaged people's trust in other people just because you're selfish. You could have come correct, and you didn't. I think there are a lot of subreddits where people would give this one a pass. r/limerence is one of those places, and it's just a very dangerous precedent to set. I think this video is still a little bit short, so let's get into another stalkery off my chest thing right now. The man that stalked my girlfriend today is in for a surprise. Oh, you're gonna catch him with the lead pipe in the parking lot. Classic. Not entirely sure what subreddit this should be in, but I suppose this one suffices. See, pick it subreddit, it's all overrated, man. Don't fit yourself into a little box. So today, my girlfriend, 19 female, and I, 19 female, went to Home Depot to buy some supplies for a home project. While walking into the store, I was blissfully unaware of a van that changed its course a full 180 degrees, from leaving the parking lot to returning to the parking lot, to parking, to expelling a 50-something-year-old man. I won't go into the particulars of his appearance as it's really irrelevant, and I mean not to shame those with his features, but he just looked like a sleaze. I mean, he is. He's out here cruising the Home Depot for teenage girls, driving around a windowless van. You've already painted quite a picture. After about 20 to 30 minutes of browsing and picking things out, my girlfriend leaned to me close and said, "I don't mean to freak you out, but someone is following us." I felt like a doof because I hadn't noticed in the slightest. He was keeping his distance and was careful to stay just out of my view. I asked how she was sure, and she said that he parked his car to follow us in and has been peering through the shelves at us since we arrived. Stop stalking around. Walk up, shoot your shot if you really have to, get rejected, and go home. This is not making your situation better. creeping around the aisles and watching these girls through boxes of screws. Like eventually he'll be like, hey you, creeper, come over here. I want to talk to you. OP continues. Once I finally spotted him, I became conscious of him lurking down the aisle a dozen meters away, looking between the shelves, peering around displays, etc. Can you imagine a 50-year-old man doing all this? How ridiculous that picture is in your head. At some point, a nice elderly lady who was shopping for similar items pointed out a cheaper product to me, and as I walked a few steps to look at the price tag, the man swooped in, handed my girlfriend a note, and left, without me even being aware of him being there yet. The weirdest thing is that I'm even known for being observant, and it took him being pointed out for me to notice. Psychic cloaking device, yep, seen it 1,000 times before. The note stated something along the lines of how he really likes her, and she's so pretty, and also she should smile more. Ew. Also, she was wearing a mask, so what does it matter? He left his number at the bottom of the note, saying to call him. 50-year-old man. Can't even initiate a conversation. He hands notes out like a little grade school boy. Well, she's still 19. She might not know yet that this isn't how normal humans function. He can't date anyone his own age. Nobody else is gonna put up with him.
Making the sides opposite both of the acute angles, squares of the other sides. Any questions?
Might as well prey on children, right? Fucking disgusting. Now, this is where it should have ended, correct? This is where the last thread of dignity should have told him to hit the road, right? Well, no. Apparently not, because he proceeded to stalk her for the next 30 minutes as we finished up our shopping. Every time I started in his direction, hoping to get close enough to tell him off, he would simply vanish. My girlfriend kept telling me to not confront him, as she feared he would turn aggressive towards me, so I compromised, with convincing her to let me tell an employee. There you go, there's a happy middle ground. I mean, they don't get paid enough to deal with this, but you guys aren't getting paid at all, so there's a sliding scale here. Now, this employee that we got in contact with happened to be a mom, so she instantly went protective mode, told us to stick around her so he can't follow us out where we'd be more vulnerable. We showed her the note containing the phone number, and she got a smile, saying that her shift ends in 30 and that it would be rude to keep the gentleman waiting on a call. I feel a little bit smug that he expected a call from a sweet young college student, and instead he got a call from an angry lady ready to fight God. I can practically hear her tearing into him right now. So thank you very much, Home Depot employee. I doubt you'll see this, but I do appreciate you looking out for others. Yeah, that's MVP plays right there. I mean, if you really want to have some fun, you could, like, I don't know, write his phone number on a bathroom wall, or, it's kind of old school. I guess signing it up for a bunch of spam mailing lists would be the modern equivalent. And I hope OP did do just that. Edit, I took out the mention of the lady's race. I had the thought process that the stalker might have seen us talking to her, and upon receiving the phone call, connected the dots on what happened when hearing her voice. I didn't mean to imply that she was angry because stereotypes around her race. However, I apologize as that is how it read out. Jesus, way to miss the point, Reddit comments. It turned from like, look at how creepy this stalkery guy is, to, I'm totally not a racist, by the way. Also, plus, like, yeah, that took a bit of a left turn, didn't it? Let's go ahead and move past all that, beef out the video a little bit more with something from the POV of a stalker. Should be interesting. I'm a stalker, and tomorrow I will have my first therapy session about it. Well, admitting you got a problem is the first step toward fixing. I'm proud of you for going to therapy. Look at you, making moves in life. Obviously, throwaway account. I, 20 female, have been struggling with obsessive thoughts for a really long time. They concern mainly people who have some kind of authority over me and with whom I've built rapport. Mentors, let's say. Nothing sexual, just an intense need to feel close to them and know as much as I could about them. Is this parasocial? Is this people that you know in real life? I'm not saying it's good either way, but one's like clearly more unhealthy than the other. OP continues, I reached a point where I constantly thought about them, and I Googled them practically 24/7. Just their name on a screen and some random information about them was enough to soothe me, but not for long. Soon Googling wasn't enough. I tried to sneak into their private sharings by creating fake accounts, befriending their acquaintances on social media, or pretending to be an imaginary organization. Okay, so not people that you know in real life. That's not good. I knew theoretically how creepy and borderline illegal all of this was, but I didn't grasp the full insanity of this until the day that they found out. Yeah, you're gonna see some fireworks. They might wake you up, or you might delete your account. I'm proud of you for waking up though, OP. We didn't talk about it, nor do I know for sure that they know that it was me who tried to invade their internet privacy, but I did realize how creepy and, well, fucked up that behavior is. All I know is that they found out the profile was fake and that it was intended for them specifically. Both were pretty obvious. I probably caused a tremendous amount of fear for the person who found out that someone is out there targeting them and went through this whole process in order to stalk them. Yeah, it's like a splash of cold water. You're affecting another human being with your actions. Stop it. And so she did. I imagine them wondering where else the invader be hiding or if they're in danger. I imagine them telling their spouse what happened and worrying about their safety. I imagine them finding out that it was me and being confused and basically changing their whole perception of me. You have to tell him, OP, like the first OP said. He has a right to know the truth, right? It's nice. You bring it all back around. All I wanted was to feel close. I never intended to hurt anyone, and I thought that as long as there was no physical stalking, it would be okay. But I imagine I did cause harm, and it definitely wasn't okay. Heal and grow. Look at that. Thinking that I had behaved in such a disturbing, unethical, and harmful way is unbearable. I'm not trying to play the victim in any way. I know I should have thought about this before invading a person's privacy, but now I did. And I almost feel crazy, like sick in the head. I mean, everybody is a little bit, but you're making steps to resolve that, and I think that's admirable. I realized after that I needed help. I shouldn't hurt anyone else. I hope that therapy helps because I really, really want to change this. Just wanted to share because I'm a little anxious. Thanks. Don't be nervous, OP. Don't be nervous. 3 years later, I hope you're still going to therapy. I guess you have plenty throughout the story because, yes, I think it's a very positive thing that you're doing for yourself. Keep it up. Walk the path. Trust your gut instincts. And we'll get into one more story before I get out of here for the day. I got my stalker to name their kid the wrong name. What does that mean? How do you do that? Jedi mind tricks. So I've had a stalker for about a decade. We met through mutual friends, but after a few months of knowing each other, red flags and alarm bells went off and I cut ties with her. She, however, did not. And thus started nearly a decade of the weirdest stalking ever. I mean, it is a bold move. You're like, hey, I gotta break up. And she's like, no. Let's see how it works out for him. She would, and still does, copy everything possible that she can from me. From dyeing her hair, buying the same clothes as me, claiming to work in the same company that I do, copy-pasting my Instagram posts, Twitter status, stealing my holiday photos and photoshopping me out of them to look like they were hers, showing up to places that she knows that I would be, etc. It's just been really bizarre. But as she hasn't done anything physical, I was unable to get the law involved. Oh, so she doesn't want to break up, she just wants to become you and wear your skin. Be careful, OP. You're gonna end up in a basement before long. In 2020, my husband and I got pregnant, but unfortunately suffered a miscarriage. Before we lost our baby, we had put up an announcement on Facebook saying that we were going to have a baby. I'm pretty good with graphic design, so I designed it myself.
Graphic design is my passion.
I was heartbroken after the miscarriage, so I took it down a week after the loss. That's rough, you hate to see it. Fast forward to last September, when my stalker announced her pregnancy, where, you guessed it, she used my custom announcement with just the names changed. It was wild, and more than a few people noticed how weird it was that she had kept on the announcement for nearly 3 years, just in case she would ever have the chance to use it. You gotta wonder what goes through the head of somebody that does stuff like this. It was then that OP decides to play a little game. She knew that I was very close to my grandfather that had passed away. If we had had our baby and it was a boy, I intended to name him after my grandfather. I never stated the name publicly, but I saw this as an opportunity to mess with her. I posted about how I wished I could have called my baby Jack after my grandfather and how much that name meant to me. My grandfather's name is most certainly not Jack. So as predicted, guess what name she decided to give her baby boy? That's right, Jack. She is so far unaware that Jack is just a completely random name and not even close to my grandfather's name that I care about. I plan on dropping the ball that it's the wrong name in a few years when it will already be impossible for her to change it. What country y'all from? You could change your name anytime in America. You can't do it at all in the Philippines. Apparently whatever country this is has a time window. I think it's fascinating. Anyway, it just made me laugh so hard that she would go that far and in turn named a whole other human being a random name just out of spite. That is pretty juicy. I thought that Reddit would enjoy the bizarreness of it all. I mean, the whole thing was relatively bizarre. That's just sort of the cherry on top, isn't it? Edit, as people keep asking, yes, my social media is private. However, she has used fake profiles in the past, pretending to be coworkers, friends, relatives, etc. Yeah, we've seen that far too many times, I think. Nothing surprises me anymore. I've been to the bottom of the stalker barrel and back up again. It has been a hard task keeping up and finding them all, and it's frankly exhausting, so I just don't do it anymore. I have a public Twitter due to my work, so while I keep it as non-personal as possible, I do have to keep it public. I'm in a creative field, and I use it as my portfolio. There's better places to keep a portfolio, you know? But who am I to question bureaucracy? The Facebook post was set to friends of friends, as I don't have a lot of my husband's family on there, and he wished to share it with them. It's the only way that I have figured that she would have found that post. She has scrolled through friends' socials to find anything that she can about me, such as my holiday photos from a friend's trip, and she has stalked me in real life, such as following my mother around our town, turning up to my place of work, hanging out at my local store, and following me around while I do groceries. If blocking and privating everything would have stopped her, then this would have ended years ago. But unfortunately, that has not been the case. I really wish it was that easy. It's time to start a paper trail, police, police. Get them to your house right now, she's in your closet now. Wielding a big knife, wielding a big knife. She wants to skin you, wear your clothes, do-do-do-do-dee. Edit 2. I went with a normal name because that poor kid will have enough to deal with her as his mother. He didn't ask to be born to her, and he's really done nothing wrong in this situation. He is a whole human being, and he really shouldn't be punished for my stalker's crazy. You're principled, OP. I like that. Personally, I would have dubbed the child, Sir Paperclip upon my dick. Like, yeah, it's funny, but also it's got some class to it, you know? I'm doing the kid a favor. It would have been funny to say a completely wild name, but I didn't want to curse the poor thing. He is innocent in all of this. Well, it seems like everything turned out okay. I really do hope this situation doesn't escalate in any way. I still would really advocate getting a paper trail started with some sort of law enforcement agency as soon as possible. Please, thank you. I don't think it's gonna end at this. And now you've done something to slight her, so I think it's only gonna pick up from here. Once she finds out, you're gonna have to move, man. You're gonna have to find a whole new country. And for what? There's really no reason except that this stalker wants to become OP for whatever reason. But I don't know, shrug your shoulders, just be like, ha, you hate me cause you ain't me, right? Seen it before, seen it 100 times before. I mean, look at you, look at me. Shit, I'd hate me too, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, friends. If you did, really and truly, maybe you could go check out some less long-term cringe interactions with our Dating Hell playlist right over here. Sort of a new arc for the channel, but it's been pretty fun. Anyways, I hope you guys will take care of yourselves out there. Wash your hands. Always remember that you are loved, worthy. You definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, friends, bye-bye.
It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.